2,000 days in Minecraft is a really long time, and over the last 6 months, I've accomplished the latter half of that almost entirely together with so many of you live on Twitch. We've had some great moments.
Yes!
Some not so great moments.
No!
Some successes.
Let it go, let it go.
Some very close calls.
Oh!
And the kind of moments you just can't make up.
Here, look, I'm a decent shot. Watch this.
Wow. A story where this Minecraft world and a few others that orbit it have changed my life forever. But before we talk about what I did, we need to go back to where this all started. Because 1 year ago today, everything went wrong.
Yep, this is a big one. This is stealing. We love stealing. Oh! No!
At the time, the Hardcore Series 1 world was the peak of my content creation career, and I thought it was all over. Losing that world had me so nervous about my future, but what came after it and what spawned from it would blow it away. So do you ever have that moment where somebody calls you and says that they're about to come over to your house and you have clothes and chests and open things just sitting everywhere? Yeah, that was me on top of the monument on day 999. We were on the final day of the first 1,000 of our playthrough, and I'm still cleaning the place up because I had left chests everywhere, and the build, despite some movie magic that I did in the first video, wasn't 100% complete right exactly on the day. But as I stood on top of the monument, celebrating with my chat, with the sun rising in front of me, I knew that that was the end of a chapter where we were gonna stop looking back at the previous hardcore world and start looking forward to the new amazing stories that we could create. But we couldn't do that without retiring our armor. The armor that I had worn in the first 1,000 days of this world was the original diamond armor that I had repaired and upgraded and enchanted throughout the entire playthrough. And with the Nether monument complete, or soon to be complete, at about day 1100, it was time for that armor to stand here and watch over a finished build. So as I placed it, as I could look over myself and the huge build that we had put forth, everything was complete. Finished. And like I said, it felt like this chapter had come to a close. So I flew my way back to the place where this world all started, the jungle base, and it was time to forge a new armor set. I grabbed some rough diamond armor from a chest, did a dispenser of fate with the chat, and for the first time in about 300 days in game, slept, finally putting the phantoms to bed. And when we woke up the next day, it was time to get started. Immediately following the 1,000 days milestone, while I worked on the video to tell YouTube about the accomplishment that we had made on Twitch, I primarily focused streams in the little things, cleaning up all of the farms around the Nether monument and filling in those final small details, as well as giving some tender love and care back to my jungle home. I had not been here for a majority of the last 500 days of this playthrough, and this base needed some upgrades. So pathing, some additional farms, including a sheep farm, which filling had some issues.
This is gonna work. It worked! Oh, it worked!
But once I remembered that gravity was a thing, it all managed pretty well. And shortly after that, we had our first real surprise of this chapter of our story.
Hey! Nope, in the hole. In the hole. Perfect. Thank you. You're alive. Hello. You're a jungle villager. Yo, I didn't even realize. All right, I didn't even realize. In the moment it didn't click. I forgot. These you can only get a jungle villager through curing. So they are not nommed on by zombies again, or potentially killed by anything else. Hey, we got a burger villager. That's dope.
But now that I had finished a big build, my wanderlust kicked back in, and I spent a good chunk of almost all the time I had in this world flying around from village to village and stealing anything that wasn't nailed down, as well as looking for other treasures and surprises and potential build sites. One of the last things I did before the 1K Days video launched was start on the Nether Highway project, a series of metro tunnels color-coded with stations indicating what the overworld location would be on the roof of the Nether. This would allow for quick travel between all of my build sites and attempt to unify them all into a connected world instead of just different builds thousands of blocks away from each other. This is still ongoing, but it's something that I'm very happy with. It's simple, but it gets the job done. But as we finished up the other end of that sword portal, the day had come, and it was time to tell the world that things were about to change. I was about to take the biggest risk of my life. A few weeks before this video launched, I went to my boss and said, I love it here. I love you all. I quit. I had the opportunity, the chance to do something that very few people in the world actually get to do, and something that I had thought about and dreamed about doing on and off for the better part of 17 years. And in July of 2021, I became a full-time content creator. It's impossible to talk about the hardcore world and what we've accomplished in it without also talking about my life and everything that's surrounded it. And that change sparked a whole new degree of creation in this world. And that moment is something I will remember forever.
Here we go, everyone.
I've already told a part of this story
in 3 videos.
You should probably go
that
check
was led
out
to here.
first, but this is the story from about.
And this is what I've been waiting to tell you all.
Minecraft into my full-time job. We start right where 300 days left off.
That
with
just
my
happened.
wings on my back, exploring the world and preparing was greatly upgraded.
Oh my god.
That meant it was time
it's
for
happening.
redstone-powered
We're
swords.
doing this.
So,
I'm
next
gonna
project,
cry.
Here's what we need to do now is this space. With the world now aware of what I had done, the most people that had ever watched my stream at the same time to that point, all online, we toured the world, showed off the Nether monument, and then immediately got to work, because it's time for Copilot to have a much better place to live. So if you didn't watch my first 1,000 days, you don't know about the 2 pink sheep that I've found in this world. The first, the asset, was lost in transport back to my base. No! And the second, Copilot, we stashed in a desert temple here that we did some very minor renovations to. Well, that just wasn't going to cut it. We were in quad digits now. We needed to build an entirely custom structure. And that's what we worked on as the first real project of this 1,000 days. Everything we had done before this point was basically a continuation or just minor renovations and enhancements, making the world better but not bigger, if that makes sense. This was the first new addition to the lore and the history of the world that we were creating together.
Watching for sheeps. I'm watching for sheeps. For wolves. I'm looking everywhere. We're making the trip. Here we go. Let's move the sheep over. In we go. Yes, look at me. I'm the Copilot now.
And once Copilot was out of the temple, well, it was time to tear it down. To date, this is one of the most controversial things I've done in the entire hardcore world. And there are people who every time we visit this build site will not forgive me for tearing down the original desert temple. That just tells me how much people care about this world, but tearing that down and building something new on top of it was very symbolic for me at the time. This was 2 days after I had quit my job, walked away from a 10-year professional career to jump into something that I'd been doing on and off for the better part of 2 decades. And having that be the first project and having it be something that everyone rallied around and everybody got so excited about just felt right. So it made sense to build something brand new on the foundation that was there before, but we cleared away to make room for progress. I went back to the home base where, in a thing that I had only ever shown on stream before this, I had hidden the body of the asset in a shulker box buried right next to the sheep pen. I unburied them and moved the remains to the former desert temple, hiding them in the place where the chests are originally placed, and just completing this overall area in dedication to the 2 pink sheep we've found so far. And every day, whenever I'm flying over the plains, I'm waiting for number 3. Like I said at the start, it's impossible to talk about the hardcore world and not talk about the other things that happened around it and to me as this journey started. It's as much about my Minecraft character as it is me in real life. And about 2 weeks after I announced that I was going full time, the first episode of the Deceit SMP premiered. Alright, we're back. I want to hear you say it.
You're traitors.
Last time I played this with you, Mongo died. Never thought of them as a mouth, but I guess they just kind of are.
Imagine that face, though, if that's your mouth.
Run, Pez, run! We're the bad boys. We're the bad boys.
If you become the traitor, you have to kill me with that iron sword.
I will kill you with this iron sword.
Legundo, no.
He's in the tower.
Legundo, yes! I'm not going to recap the entire gameplay of both seasons of the SMP so far. I'll just tell you this. These people are amazing. We've done so much together, and they've given me inspiration and motivation and drive to continue to push myself and challenge myself as a creator in the hardcore world.
Just fix it. Just come on, fix it. You know what?
I would not build as good as I do if it wasn't for the push and the extra sort of friendly challenge and motivation from Looney, Tanisha, Mongo, Pez, Brock, and Fix. The 6 of them make me a better creator and a better person. We even applied to be a part of MCC as part of MCC Rising. And while that was a motivation and a high, the rejection that followed came at a low, during a point where I was in the middle of the grindiest project I've ever worked on, and things got tough for a little while. But in parallel to all of my adventures from this point forward, where I was alone in a world with only myself to guide me, having these people to talk to collaborate with, to plan, strategize, they are just as much a part of the story of this hardcore world as I am, even if they're not playing in it. And I'm really glad I have them, because like I said, I'm about to start the grindiest project I've ever done in Minecraft ever. I've been weaving an interconnected narrative between all of my supposedly one-off 100 days videos, the hardcore world, and the streams for the past few months. That started all the way back in the first episode from Series 2, but it was very much in the background. But it was time to bring that front and center. In the 100 days, that's represented by the obelisks. In the hardcore world, it's represented by the portal room. For the scale of my world, a stronghold just doesn't cut it. So it was time to excavate a 100 by 100 by 55 space to build a gigantic ocean-themed portal room. That equates to 588,000 blocks, almost all of which we dug out manually. And I'm glad we did, because we found every type of spawner in the game around this portal, and we've been preserving all of the ores to get a final count for what exists there. But doing this manually is an arduous process and took forever. And then when we were in the middle of this project, mindlessly digging, this one Enderman decided this was a great opportunity to end the game. Okay. Oh! That was a reality check. A realization that I was not nearly as invincible as I thought I was. And if I wanted to tell the story that I wanted to tell, I needed to be A bit more careful, and B, start moving a bit quicker. So let's dominate the end dimension and kill 19 dragons in a single night. Killing the dragon 20 times fully unlocks the end island, making the dimension yours for the taking. With all the gateways spawned, you can do massive end build projects. But the fight itself is also a marathon and an event to behold. Live on Twitch in front of everybody, I took on the dragon again, and again, and again, and again. 15 times in a row, 16 times in a row, each time getting faster, more efficient, and more lethal. Near the end, we decided to stunt on things a little bit, and I killed the dragon once holding only a piece of pink wool that we had sheared from Copilot before this trip.
All right, this one we're gonna kill with Copilot. Yay, we got one with Copilot!
As well as the final fight being with my bare hands.
These fists can kill gods. Get over here. I need to kill you with my hands. She knows she's the last one. She's trying to prolong it. No. Get over here. Get over here. Don't let her die to thorns. Dragon has been slain. This dimension is ours.
And as she rose up into the sky, evaporating into experience for the final time, the end was fully unlocked and the island was mine. We commemorated this event by retiring my first bow, the one that I had crafted all the way back on day one, and now sits in my storage room. We will one day build on the End Island, completely replace it with a brand new creation, but that day's not here yet. First, we need to get this portal room done, and I'm not stalling at all, totally, as I went to go do basically everything except that for a little while. Because after having dug out over 100,000 stone, I wanted to do anything but. So I worked on the raid farm, got that improved, continued filling out the villager trading hall to get all of the different trades completely covered so we can get any enchantment that we wanted. I also went back to the Nether monument and finally drained the interior, something that I never actually did. I just left it closed. We'll turn that into a guardian farm a little bit later. But the one item I was missing from 1.17 was powdered snow. So we built a snow castle with a snowman on top of some blocks with hoppers inside of them, so we could be able to collect snowballs and snow layers and make that a part of our block building repertoire. All of this was really just to kill time while cauldrons filled with powdered snow, and oh my, that was the most arduous and time-consuming thing in 1.17. I am so happy powdered snow just spawns on mountains now. When we finally got one, and we couldn't use it to do the bedrock breaking trick that I thought we'd be able to, I was upset.
All right, everyone. It's been fun. It's been a great ride. Series 2 has been wonderful. Let it go, let it go. I can't sing the song anymore. Copyright, copyright. FBI blows down the door. Here I stand in the ice and flame. Let the storm rage on. The stream's gonna be over now anyway. But I instead focused on smaller projects, starting with a custom geode as part of a custom lush cave that I was building underneath the jungle place to recognize people who help support the stream and grow the community. And you can donate $1 and get a text-to-speech message read on stream, and that definitely didn't go badly, ever, at all, ever. Yeah, sometimes streams are chaos, but it's fun chaos, so it's okay. And we built the Cluckinator, half of a machine that uses a wither explosion to kill a whole bunch of chickens to get a whole bunch of wither roses. Oh my god! That's terrifying.
But with enough delaying done and over the halfway mark of this 1,000 days, I returned back to the portal room and got to work in earnest. When I started in the Series 2 world, I knew I wanted to rotate biomes as a big way to do big builds. For the ocean, transforming it into the Nether and building the Nether monument. For a stronghold, transforming it into an ocean theme and using all of the ocean block palette as well as some endstone to create a really unique portal room experience. And it has a ton of water invested into it as well, so there's a very aquatic theme and it feels very airy and different. Reminds me of the Aether before everybody's heart was broken when they tried to make a glowstone portal. But at the scale that I wanted to build it at, and being determined to preserve certain bits of information and spawners and other things that existed around this space, I set myself up for a nightmarish task. Excavating over 500,000 blocks, doing it manually using picks that I had to repair, and doing it on a stream where I also had to stay entertaining and engaging and interesting. This was the most mentally taxing thing that I did, and the days and weeks that I spent on this project started to blur together. They're already starting to blur together for you watching, and you've only had to go through this for about 2 minutes. You know how I know that? I just repeated the exact same clip of excavating out the same blocks 3 times, and I'm betting only half of you noticed. And since I didn't really have an efficient guardian farm, the best way to get blocks to be able to actually do some of that construction was to go raid ocean monuments. And with each one we raided and cleared out all the blocks for, having not cleared out all of the spawns, it became this effort of just constantly juggling with those spiky fishes. And each one we raided meant we had to travel even further to find another. And we had some losses along the way, RIP Barry. It wasn't all digging. We did start some construction at about day 1600, where we started building individual towers that would exist inside the greater space. The first one that we were constructing would be the cold storage bank, which would hold over 1,000,000 items, 2/3 of which would be the blocks that we were excavating to make the space in the actual place that we were building it in. And the redstone for that is actually something I'm really proud of. The item filters at the top are extremely generic, but instead of doing the item storage and having it filtered up automatically, I wanted to lean into the aquatic nature of this build. They very gently and slowly float up from bottom to top. Put a couple glow squids in the sides and you have a very dynamic and visually engaging space with a pretty practical purpose. As we started around the corner and we're actually building in this space, things got better, and we started celebrating other things in the world, building birthday cakes and other small details to recognize the people who were helping me continue this journey. I even decided to flex at one point, building a giant diamond stalactite in the portal room that drips diamonds that eventually get recycled back up in, but it looks like it's just an infinite source of diamonds. ECR would be proud. But there was something we hadn't done yet, and I thought now was as good a time as any as I was looking for yet another distraction. Let's go raid a mansion. I did some trading with cartographers back at the jungle base to find a map which pointed me to the final structure that I had yet to clear in Minecraft Hardcore. And this was the home of the pillagers, their house which tells you they're definitely compensating for something as it's hundreds of blocks wide. On the way there, with just a map and rockets in hand, we made a few discoveries along the way.
TNT! Yo, let's go. That is awesome.
Traveled what at the time was the furthest out we ever had to make our way to a house in the middle of the woods. And everything inside wanted to kill me.
This is the most dangerous thing that I've done yet. This is the last big challenge in my world, and the last thing that could really is designed to kill me. So let's clear a woodland mansion.
And I went in prepared. I had all of my netherite armor, my apples and my god apples in my hotbar, and beacons for resistance, strength, and regeneration running on the ceiling. And it's moments like this, when you're nervous about doing something in the world and you just completely blow through it, that remind you how powerful you are when you start to hit endgame in Minecraft. It now has basically made me realize that it's gonna take something really silly or a very small mistake for the world to go away. In a straight combat challenge, I'm pretty safe at this point. I have a power 5 bow which can obliterate basically anything from range, and with my sword and my armor, I am pretty well protected up close as well. It took about 15 minutes to properly verify that every room in the structure had been cleared, but with that, the mansion was mine. Here's the point where I reevaluated my streaming schedule a bit, and we started doing more episodes in the hardcore world as well. I started off by completing a full collection of every music disc that was available in Minecraft, and building a giant redstone farm where I could make thousands of them at a moment's notice. Next, I built a giant hole which went all the way down to the void, breaking over 200 pieces of bedrock so I could go take void damage on purpose in this hardcore world. That's a video that people are still mad at me about. Next, we took on the Halloween event, collecting 2 of every of the unique mob that you can only get on this one calendar day a year. And that was an interesting challenge because I only had about 4 hours to do it in, as well as continuing on the excavation and construction in the portal room. Finally got a design for the ceiling, and that's what started to make this whole thing feel like it was coming together. Using cobbled deep slate, large jungle bushy vines made of leaf blocks, and glowberries and dripstone, the ceiling looks like something so distinctly different from the rest of the space, it makes it look actually carved out and like something that was actually put here. Instead of just a flat layer of stone, there was texture, there was depth, there was something that connected. And then we went to the walls, where we started building out these large panels of just sheets of water in which we can hide coral, and we can build coral right next to. And I'm building a language to be able to hide little secret codes and spoilers and surprises in the other builds and videos that I've been working on to continue with this whole multiversal mystery of what I've been building in the hardcore world. And I hit a groove. We're working on the floor, we're doing detailing in all of the walls. The biggest problem I have right now is resource generation. I can't farm all of the materials and complete the build in time for 2K days. The just hours they weren't there. And 1.18 was right around the corner with brand new terrain generation that upgrades Minecraft to a whole new thing. And I was very excited to go out and go exploring. And then, for a second time in this 1,000 days, I had to brush with death. And you know how I said it would be a simple mistake or one miscalculation that could cost me this world? Well, that was it.
So we're just gonna feed the void. Just gonna casually feed the void. No biggie. I could always like just pop in. Nah, I'm not gonna. No. If we're gonna pop in, we're gonna like be careful about it. There you go. We're down in the hole. We're avoiding the phantoms. Does this give anyone anxiety? Just a little bit? It's okay. Never again. I've done it. My heart was racing the entire time that I did that, and I will never do it again. I've done it, and that's where the stream ends. Yep. I'm good. I'm good. I've done that. I can say I've done it. It's like if I ever go skydiving, right? I will likely go skydiving once. At some point in my life. I will likely never go. What the heck was that? What the heck was that? I was not falling that fast. We gotta put it in the thing. I don't even have rockets at the moment. That was me skydiving. Wow, the timing of what I was talking about, and the fact that that happened. Never go skydiving. This is a sign. You're 100% correct. Yeah, void hole misfile. Going skydiving. 11/3/21. So those are the 6 close death encounters. So this was before totems. This is a totem. This is a totem. Was this a totem? This was not a totem. So wait, should this count? This wasn't a totem. We didn't break a totem for this. I don't think that should count. That definitely counts. That was a broken totem. That was a broken totem. Wow. All right. Hey, co-pilot. So, something happened. Don't worry, it's fine. I have the death magic, the death word magic that you've given me. So that's cool. It's all great. Totally fine. Nothing bad happened. Don't worry about it. Here's some carrots. You take those, and cool. Just wanted to check in and say hi and say thanks for everything. I appreciate it. And cool.
After logging my near-death experience and going and checking in with Copilot just to make sure that I still had their blessing to continue operating in this world, I took a break and I took a breath. I worked on a few other projects, did some other small things around the world, and then prepared myself because it was time to venture out into a whole new generation, a whole new world, and a brand new breath of fresh air. I was determined to truly and honestly start over in my hardcore world with 1.18. I wanted to move to a brand new space in 1.18 terrain, abandon temporarily the portal room build, and move to something new. Start with a brand new start and kind of recapture my early game passions while having my gear and equipment to make sure that I was a little less squishy. I set myself out on new chunks in terrain, flying over looking for just something that would inspire me, before coming across a place that would soon to be called the Bay of Stars, a huge cove with large cliff sides in every direction that I could turn into multiple different builds. The pirate starter home that is being built in the main island, the new village that's going to be built on the side, and the city of the layers, also known as Onion Town, which is a bunch of micro farms all collapsed together for one large decorative piece that is also entirely functional. This also marked the next episode that I did in the hardcore world, where I talked about starting over, why I did it, and I chronicled this specific chapter of my adventure. So if you want to go in a lot more in depth, go watch that. I really recommend it.
Are you all ready for this? Are you ready for this? Gorgeous.
Shortly after getting started in this new space, building up the layers and starting to come up with an idea of where this fit in the timeline of the overall world, as well as what I wanted to accomplish before returning back to complete that portal room, because I definitely want to complete it one day, I started moving on the necessities, building a huge creeper statue inspired by one of my Deceit friends, Switchback Mongo, and just chronicling that for its own separate video. I want to retell these stories, but at the same time, I want to leave those videos standing on their own. And this marks kind of a place where you're going to see a little bit more of this in future episodes, because I am going to be releasing more stories and videos in the hardcore world, even though I'm also going to have these large, big chapter updates from time to time. I left on my adventure on day 1900, and less than 2 weeks later, the time had come. For the first time, I flew back to the old chunks and went to Copilot's temple, being this first major build of what I had done, and the first one that is complete since the portal room was not yet so, and watched the sunrise to end the second chapter of my story and start on the third. We have already almost completed another 100 days in this world, and I have more stories to tell you, both in builds that we're working on, new farms that we're designing and building, and creating all of our own design. The 2 new pink sheep that we have discovered, who I found the day I edited the bit about Copilot that you just watched 10 minutes ago. New god apples, new friends, and new adventures right over the horizon. The story of the hardcore multiverse that I am continuing to explore in one-off videos and the Series 2 world is growing and becoming more to the forefront. There's secrets that were hidden in this video that I really hope some of you find, because there's so much more of the story that I want to tell you. Everyone, if you made it to the end of this video, you're amazing. Thank you for all of the amazing support over the last 6 months as we're now full-time creators. Chapter 3 of this story begins right now. I am live on Twitch where you can come talk with me. Let me know what you think about the video. Let me know what you think about the mystery that we're weaving and how much of it you already know. Also, if you want to help support the project, help support the channel, the best place to do that is on Patreon. If you support the channel there, you can be like the awesome people you see on screen right now who help provide some security and stability, even in January when YouTube is the worst. I hope to see many of you on streams. We're building an amazing community. Check out my links to everything down in the description. They will all be important for this mystery. Take care of yourselves, be good to each other, and I'll see you in the next 1,000 days.